Chiefs Kingdom, happy Tuesday, and welcome into our Tuesday live show. We do appreciate you hanging out with us here, and we appreciate you just joining us every single Tuesday. We're live at 3 p.m. Central, and hey, you're here with us right now. So shout out your city. Where is Chiefs Kingdom today? Where are you watching from? Get it in the chat. Anybody who puts their city in the chat, I'll give you a little shout out here on the channel. Tony Fuentes saying El Paso. Chiefs are better saying, I want them to get MHJ. Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. would be nice, but I do not think that will happen for the Kansas City Chiefs. That would be a heck of a way to go up. Chris Willis from TA Town. Paul Amos from Tonganoxie, Kansas. Tim Stebbins from Kansas. I'm doing good, Tony. I'm doing good. How are you? It's a good Tuesday. Oh, man. Got a lot of good stuff for you on tap here today. It's going to be a fun time. Obviously, the draft coming up here. A lot of stuff related to the draft, so we'll make sure to get you covered with that. Chiefs are better saying MHJ, please. Man, I wish. I absolutely wish, but unfortunately, we just can't do it. Y'all hit 45K? We did hit 54K. It was pretty exciting. We're on the road to 55 now. We're already shooting for more. Lakey, Texas. There you go, Richard Schmidt. Appreciate the pronunciation guide, too. What a way. You know who doesn't need a pronunciation guide? Because he obviously knows everything. It's Sam Brown, the producer.
That is high praise. I can't say I do, but feeling like it. A lot of reading up on these draft prospects here over the next 10 days. Getting familiar with some names that I've never heard in my life.
Just so you know, anything that you see draft content related over the next 5 to 8 days, Chiefs related, anything on Chat Sports, it was Sam. This dude has been absolutely just going to town.
Not just me. Shout out to the rest of the production staff, obviously. Yeah, it's a bit of a grind. You build you're basically building a whole database for all the players. And so all their pro day results, their stats, all the way down to their hometown, their hand size. We're going deep this year for the draft. I'm excited.
What's the hometown
hopefully you guys
of
will be
Kiran
tuning
Coleman?
in. What's up?
Let's see if you studied or you just put him in a paper. What's the hometown of Kiran Coleman?
Actually, that one was already in our system. I didn't put that one in myself. Boom,
there you
lawyered.
Go. Marshall, much? All right, if you are pumped about the NFL draft, then like the video. I know me and Sam both are, and it's going to be a fun time here, so make sure you're subscribed. But hey, if you're happy, you're excited, hit that like button. We got 3 likes for 48 people watching. That is not a good like ratio. Come on, let's get to 20, and that way we can start getting more people here on the stream, because 50% like ratio, I'm going to tell you right there, it's going to help us get more and more likes, or more and more people in here. So hit that like button. I promise you, it doesn't hurt. And hey, you can always just, what happens? You like it, and I know some people are a little particular about it, but hey, I think we're deserving of it.
We're getting kind of rookie numbers right now.
I know, it's
50
wild.
people watching and 5 likes.
Kind of wild.
You'd think from the fan base of the 2-time back-to-back Super Bowl champions, we'd have a higher standard than that as an organization.
Oh, yeah. I would expect that, that is much higher on the totem pole. And unfortunately, it's just apparently not. We're almost 10 likes now, which is nice. But again, not the usual standard of the Chiefs sport, which, it's a laggy. It's a stressful Tuesday.
Long ways to go. I believe in Chiefs Kingdom here, but a little bit off to a slow start here on this Tuesday afternoon. I think everybody needs their Celsius like I do here. I'm drinking it. You don't see it on screen. No free ads, but I think everyone needs a little kick in the butt here.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, let's keep going on with the questions. Want the Chiefs to draft an offensive lineman around 1? Type Y for yes, type N for no. What are y'all thinking? Y'all want an offensive lineman or you want somebody else? Tony, you got your Super Bowl hat? That's cool. John Pendleton says, need a left tackle and wide receiver plus depth on defensive line. So need all our picks to fill holes left. Yeah, I think so. David, right now we're just kind of waiting on the whole Rashee Rice thing. Not really much new to report on, to be quite frank, unfortunately. Bunch of Y's, a little bit of no's. Got Tony Fuentes saying Y, Ed Griffin saying no, Paul Amos saying no. I will like if you say Justin Jefferson to Kansas City. Justin Jefferson to Kansas City. I wish it was true, though, unfortunately. Lisa Cheney says no. Matthew Platt says no. Tony Fuentes says yes. Richard Schmidt says he can't wait for the draft. Let's go. Chiefs are better still wanting that. Justin Jefferson. Sheldon Walker saying no. Chris Williams saying yes, wanting them. And we got a kind of a divide here. We got a little bit of a divide.
And it feels like it's down to two positions at this point. Unless they do something a little surprising, it seems like offensive linemen or wide receivers would be that round one pick. They kept a lot of key guys on defense outside of L'Jarius Sneed, obviously, but most of that front seven is relatively intact. Maybe cornerback makes sense, but I think they have faith in McDuffie and the rest of the guys. And at that point, it's more of who's on the board, too.
That's what Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson have both been exceptional at cornerback when they were needed. They played well. I think they trust in both those guys to kind of be that cornerback number 2. I do see them drafting a quarterback. I just don't think it's going to be round 1 or 2. I think there's 2 bigger needs in offensive tackle and wide receiver that are more of a necessity than cornerback, just because you have guys in that slot where, do they trust Wanya Morris? I don't know yet. He wasn't a starter last year, whereas Joshua Williams did play some time in the starting role. Do they trust the wide receivers? I don't know. I mean, without Rashee Rice, that room looks pretty thin. So that's just the way it goes. There's one position that I've seen consistently in almost every mock draft. Tight end. Do they need one? Obviously, they signed Irv Smith Jr. Right now, they have 3 tight ends on roster that I would believe would make the quote-unquote 53-man roster. Obviously, can't say for certain, but they usually like to carry 4 tight ends. So I know there's a couple of guys on the board that the Chiefs did talk to at the Combine. What would you say? D for draft a tight end, P for pass on a tight end in the draft. Tony Fuentes saying D for draft, Panic Gaming saying D for draft.
Can I offer 2? I think it comes down to like 2 potential scenarios. Mm-hmm. A, scenario number 1. You're drafting a complementary tight end for Kelce, one who's a little bit more of an inline blocker, somebody who can help on those running plays, almost like a smaller offensive lineman, just a 6th down lineman. Situation B, you are looking for a potential down the line Kelce replacement.
I think that's the
not replacement. Not replacement as in like get rid of him. Retirement replacement.
Yeah.
The replacement that we are all dreading and hoping doesn't happen anytime soon.
Travis said he wants to do a lot more, but you have to understand he also is 34 at a position that is very brutal on the body. I mean, especially the way he plays it. I mean, wide receivers like Calvin Johnson, who I think, honestly, you can't compare another tight end to him besides maybe Gronk. And I mean, think about how long Gronk played. I mean, it wasn't as long as Travis has played already. So the only guy that has done that consistently was Tony Gonzalez. And yes, obviously the Chiefs have experience with him, but will Kelce be that same way?
Last year was when it actually hit me of like, oh wow, he's what 33 or whatever,
34
33
now,
or 34 at the time. It's like, oh, he's a few years older than I thought he was.
I mean, he looks like 29. Like, to be fair, he plays and looks 29, but you have to understand that the body is cracking underneath there. As much as you want to say no, it is, and that's just the way it has to go. So it sucks, but you got to start kind of thinking, all right, what is the way they're going to go about this? So got a couple D's, Ed Griffin and Paul Amos saying D. Lots of D's. I haven't seen too many.
Bonk, 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 bonk.
All right, if you got a question or thought on today's show, you can use
hashtag
hashtag
smooth
Chiefs.
gloss over.
What can I say? I've watched my fair share of Office episodes. If you want to skip the line, you can always super chat. We do have a show today based off a user suggestion. You can really recommend us a show by today being the MVP. Here's what you do. If you're the MVP of today's show, you can add in a topic that you want for a segment on our next live show. Now, we were going to have 4 segments today, but only got one of them. I know we had... That was another guy. I totally forgot. I had it in my head. My bad. Jordan Ramsey, though, did send a $2 super chat last week and talked about what are the top 5 linemen the Chiefs might draft. I went a little further. I said top 10. So we'll talk about those top 10 and who they could be. But he was the super chat MVP. Sent this and a couple one. Lost and Found was the other one. Followed me on Twitter. If you're here, Lost and Found, send me a topic. I'm happy to do one for you because you and Jordan were both, right there last week. So. But if this week you want to be the guy, you want to have a potential to suggest a topic on the next show and probably be a part of it, well then go ahead, put it on there. So I'm excited to see what your thoughts are if you have any of that. Obviously, again, you can always use hashtag Chiefs to get in from the mailbag, and we will answer any question on that in any super chat way as well. All right, what we got on tap for you today? We got 3 shows. Mock Draft 6.0 from yours truly. And I think that we have probably one of the more interesting ones that I've done, something that I haven't done before. Wanted to try and spice it up just a tad in a little bit of a recommendation from none other than producer Sam. Shout out to Sam. So we're going to get that going here. the top 10 offensive linemen draft targets.
I just want to give you a fun little challenge.
Correct. It works.
It seems like in every mock draft,
Same things happen.
like, yeah, similar things happen. And that is, kind of how mock drafts go in a way. But, right, I think a lot of us pictured the Chiefs wanting to trade up. And,
what if they did the opposite?
Happened to go the other way around.
Top 10 offensive linemen draft targets the Chiefs could get, including, I'm going to say his name now just so I get it right, Kiran Amegadjie. We're going to make sure we get that right. Kiran Amegadjie. So we're going to make sure about that one. But yeah, so super excited here to get talking with you. Let me get my stuff all ready to go here. And we're going to be getting rolling on this mock draft 6.0. Kind of crazy. 6 mock drafts in. And we were...
It's almost here.
I know. It's wild.
I think we're going to get, like 2 or 3 more before draft
day?
day?
Yeah. Well, that's why this one's going to go out today. I think I'll probably put another one out this weekend. So, I mean, there's still more to come. So, we got some time to kind of get some more stuff out to you, and I'm excited for it. It's going to be fun. But, I mean, hey, let's get going here because Mock Draft 6.0 is a good one, I will say. So something interesting and a challenge that I think actually might work. Well, let's talk about it here on the Chiefs Report. Oh, buddy, I'm getting excited, Chiefs Kingdom. We are a little bit more than a week away from the 2024 NFL Draft, 9 days to be exact, and I cannot wait for Roger Goodell to step out on that stage, the bells to ring, and finally, football in some ways is back. Obviously, there's no games, and we're going to have to wait a while before stuff happens in practice, but hey, it's something, and I'm excited, so let's all get excited, but let's talk a little mock draft. How about that? So if you're pumped about the NFL Draft just like I am, like the video, I mean, heck, for Super Bowl 58 champions, we're trying to go for 3-peat champions. We need at least, 590 likes for Super Bowl 59 to get the good luck going. So, hit that like button. I'd certainly appreciate it. 590 is the goal. That way we can make sure we guarantee the Chiefs to 3-peat. So that'd be super fun. All right, let's switch things up. Now, we've done a lot of mock drafts. This is being the 6th one. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different scenarios that we have kind of talked about, but let's do a new scenario today. Let's first start with the picks that the Chiefs currently have. As hint, they will not be the ones that they end up with. Round 1, pick number 32. Round 2, pick number 64. Round 3, pick number 95. Round 4, pick number 131. Round 5, pick number 159. Round 5, pick number 173. Round 7, pick number 221. Those last ones being Dallas, a compensatory pick, and the Tennessee pick that they received from L'Jarius Sneed's trade. So 7 total picks in general. How about we give them 1 extra? Trade alert right off the bat. I'm trading back this time. Maybe the Chiefs have been talking about potentially trading up, but I'm going to do it where they trade back this time. So I'm going to go here with the Patriots trade. You only go 2 picks back, but you get a 4th-round draft pick on top of this. So you're adding to your draft picks. You give up your 32nd pick to the Patriots, and you get their 34th pick. And then you get the 4th-round pick that the Patriots currently hold, and well, that adds to your draft picks and only slots you back 2 spots, which in this mock draft, it kind of worked out. Before I tell you who I picked, though, with that, grade this trade. A, B, C, D, or F. What are we thinking here? I know that this is kind of an interesting one. We haven't done this before where they go out of the 1st round. I know it's scary, but it's something, and I think it'd be kind of exciting. So what do you think? A, B, C, D, or F? F being bad, A being best, C being average, B and D, the in-between. Xavier Legette is my round 2 pick number 34 guy, which is funny because people have been talking about him being a potential 1st-round draft pick for the Chiefs at pick 32, which is exactly why this trade makes sense. You get him in round 2, a guy that, honestly, I think the Chiefs love. People love seeing him as the guy that would end up with Kansas City. And on top of everything else, you get an extra draft pick in round 4. I would love that. You actually get an extra draft pick for a guy that you already want. And I mean, that's the way you kind of have to think about this in a lot of different ways. Now, Legette has been, let's say, good this year. Previous years we'll talk about here in a minute. But before that, this year was really great. 1,200 yards, 17.7, and the big number that I look at because of last year's struggles, 2 drops. 2 drops. That's all it was. That's pretty good for a guy with 71 receptions and 7 touchdowns. All right, let's talk about the bad, though, with this guy because, well, this season was about the only good one he had. 113 in 2020, 7 receptions. 63 in 2021, 8 receptions. 167, 18 receptions. 3 touchdowns, though. But then he just went off in 2023 this past year, 71 receptions, 1,255 yards, 17.7 in average, and 7 touchdowns with Spencer Rattler as his QB. Played well and has kind of lurked into that late first round slot, potentially early second round, probably at worst. He fits well. I think that's the biggest thing. And given you can trade back and still get him, it's something that I just don't think you can miss out on. And again, this is going to have to rely on what happens ahead of you. If you think Xavier will be there in 2 picks, it's a lot of stuff to go into detail for Brett Veach. And obviously, draft day is one of the most hectic days on planet Earth for the GM. And I think right now is probably when things start to set in. And I really highly doubt Brett Veach is about to get any sleep for the next week and a half. So, hey, I'm right there with him. Let's get going. I'm excited for it, but it's a stressful time for the GM. Let's go trade again, though. How about that? Let's just do another one. How about no more sleep? Let's keep trading. 2024 third-round pick, you're going to get that, and you're going to get a 2025 fourth-round pick, for trading away your second-round pick. So, no, you already had your second-round pick technically because you get traded back into the second round. You give up your actual one this time, and you get a fourth-round pick next year, which, again, with Chris Jones' contract starting to settle in here in a little bit, with the potential for Patrick Mahomes' contract to settle in here a little bit next year, you need to start planning for the future in multiple different ways. And this is something that I think you could do that. And I'm excited to see if this is something that we see from Brett Veach. If he starts stockpiling picks, it's something that easily could do, trading 1 for 2. All right, so you go just now, switch to pick 80, round 3. And I got Dominick Puni, the offensive guard from Kansas. And I know that you see guard and you think, Jace, we need a tackle. Yes, Puni can do that. We've seen him play that in his career at Kansas. He can fit in that position. Now, is that what he is expected to play? No. But on the offensive line, things are interchangeable in a lot of ways. And when you have a guy who has a PFF grade of 80.6, you could probably have the potential to move him around. 8 hurries, 2 penalties. He's been someone who has been, honestly, really consistent. No sacks allowed, no hits in 2023. And the big thing with me is Wanya Morris, a third-round pick. Now you get Dominick. You are able here to combo them in a way. You can have faith in Wanya, but also grab Dominick. And again, with him being an offensive guard, he's kind of mobile in some ways. We know Joe Tooney's coming off the pec injury. God forbid Trey Smith gets hurt. You have somebody who maybe you can trust a little bit more than Mike Kelly-Andrew. I know that that's obviously something you have to plan for. And I do think Wanya Morris is a very good fit at left tackle. However, I think it's important to make sure that you get the best possible way with that. I know there's been talk about drafting an offensive tackle. And with that talk comes, okay, when is that going to happen? People want it in the first or second round because then that tackle is, in theory, I say in theory because Wanya was a third rounder, better than Wanya. Not for certain, and I think it'd be nice to have a little bit of a competition between two. I feel like that would help both sides, and you never know what could happen, especially with injuries. It'd be nice to have a guy who's very mobile on tackle or guard. So I think he really, really, really fits out well. Let's go to round 3, pick number 95. Ben Sinnott, the tight end from Kansas State University. And he has been one that we have seen on multiple other people's mock draft. I had him a couple on mine. The big reason why we see him a lot, he did have a top 30 visit with the Kansas City Chiefs. So he is in contact with him. They have obviously been in contact and talking. And with him being a Kansas State guy, we all know the Kansas State to Kansas City pipeline. We've seen Felix Uzoma, Echo Boydo, and that's just last year. So lots more that we could probably bring up. And I think this is kind of the one where you probably think he could do a little bit of both. He's a good blocking tight end, but his receiving stats, pretty good. 676 through the air, 6 touchdowns, just 2 drops on 49 receptions. He reminds me of a very, very young Travis Kelce. And I think you forget how long Kelce has been in the league, And he's going on his 11th year now. So, you talk about how long he's been able to sustain that. Ben, guess what? Let's say 4 or 5 years on the line when he takes over Kelce, 3 years, obviously maybe being a little bit generous there at 4 or 5, but he comes in here, he has the ability to do it. But do the Chiefs even need a tight end? I don't really know. Irv Smith Jr. was a free agency addition this year, and I know that that is something that, strikes strikes conversation of, well, then are we going to draft somebody? Originally, I thought no, but the Chiefs do like to have 4 tight ends on their roster. So given they only have 3 right now, at least 3 guys that I would expect to make the roster, maybe they do this. Type D for draft if you want them to get a tight end. Type P for pass if you think, I'm kind of good. I don't think we need a tight end right now. Let's go to round 4. 103, a guy that I have done once before, Michael Hall Jr., defensive lineman. Obviously a big one here, as we're going to have an Ohio State guy that I really, really enjoy. I've had him multiple drafts because I think he fits well with a lot of different facets, but you know what also fits well? Prize Picks. So make sure you're checking out Prize Picks at prizepicks.com/CLNS and using code CLNS. You're going to get a $100 deposit match. And hey, it's super easy to play. Plus, we got NBA stuff going on right now. DeMar DeRozan. I'm going DeMar. He's playing tomorrow night. I think he's going to be absolutely great. So I'm going to go on DeMar on his 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Going DeMar on Trae Young, 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I think this is a pretty good one to lock in. So, hey, if you're feeling it, go put it down. Obviously, Trae Young, been really good when the lights shine bright all the way through his career. So maybe he does it once again. It's pretty simple to play. Choose 2 or more players. I'm going 2 here. You can pick more or less on their Prize Picks projections. And then you choose flex or power play depending on your confidence level. So obviously get in there and kind of pick what you're trying to see. And hey, you never know what can happen. So go check it out there. PrizePicks.com/CLNS using code CLNS. You're going to get that $100 deposit match. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and it's the easiest way to play DFS. I highly recommend it. They got stat types and a bunch of different stuff. So once again, the final time, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Using code CLNS, you're going to get that deposit for $100 matched. And guess what? We'll have that link in the comments and the description of this video. All right, Michael Hall. I think he fits in well because I like this defensive line. You re-signed pretty much everybody back. This is the starting line from last year. Dana, Jones, Nadi, Karlaftis. The defensive line that nobody really thought was going to be good without Jones. But then, guess what? Really, really performed well. I would love some extra help, though, because I like Pennell, I like Tershawn Wharton. I think that Neil Farrell Jr. can have a good year. But I want more interior help. I think that is a big thing of just relieving any stress that you may see on Chris Jones, relieving any stress you may see on Derek Nadi. I don't want to put our defensive line into a position where they could be more, I guess, susceptible to injury. And so that's going to talk about rotation. And I like Tershawn Wharton. Turtle's great. Getting to re-sign him was good. I just want somebody in the back end and somebody younger to have. I mean, Nadi could only be here for another year. We don't know what the situation is with, Tershawn Wharton's one more year. What's going to happen in the coming years? You have a rookie on contract that is going to be pretty cheap for the next 4 if you get that. Let's go to round 4, pick number 131 here. Braylon Allen, the running back from Wisconsin. Yes, I know it's getting a little redundant having to see him a couple every times, but here's the thing. He fits well with this system, and he would be a great RB2 to combo with Isaiah Pacheco. He runs the ball hard. He's very agile. And he can be put in pretty much any slot. He can catch it. He can run it. A lot of things. Plus, he had a great collegiate career with what I would consider RBU, running back university in Wisconsin. Over 3 years there, he had 1,000 yards 2 times. Should have had 1,000 yards 3 times. Would have had it if he had one more game, which he played only 11 this past year. 12 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns. This guy was an absolute menace. And I think that the Chiefs are looking at one running back. I don't know who that is, though. I consistently keep saying this, that they know that there's somebody they want. We've seen that because they're not signing J.K. Dobbins. They have Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Pacheco, but they want an RB3, and I don't think it's P. Ryan. There's someone they're looking at. I think it might be Braylon Allen. I know that we've talked about him a lot. I know that he's been in contact. He fits the bill for a lot of what the Chiefs want. It's him or Bucky Irving, and I'm going to go Braylon Allen in this one. So that's just the way I think. Let's get another wide receiver, why don't we? In round 5, pick 159 with Jordan Whittington, the Austin, Texas native. Hey, another Texas wide receiver. Not E.D. Mitchell, not Xavier Worthy, but hey, I guess it's something. And Jordan is one of these guys who I think was maybe undervalued just because of the people around him. I mean, when he was coming out of high school, he was projected to be the next big wide receiver at Texas. Then you had the Xavier Worthies coming in there, and you had A.D. Mitchell coming in there, and there's just a lot of stuff to kind of put on his plate that he becomes wide receiver 3. Still with that, 505 yards, only 3 drops. I know that's a lot considering he only had 42 receptions, but still pretty solid. 1 touchdown, pretty good there. I know that, again, it's not somebody you're looking at as like a top guy, but at the same time, you already got your wide receivers kind of figured out by drafting up at the top with Xavier Legette. Jordan Whittington is somebody that you could kind of combo there, put him at the back end of it. Plus, again, you get 4 years of control. You can be able to really, really help him out for the next coming years. Should the Chiefs draft a second wide receiver, though? Is this worth it, or do you think there's other holes they need to fill? Type Y for yes or type in for no. What are we thinking here? They need a second wide receiver if they're going to draft one already. Y for yes, in for no. Let me know down in the comments section. I'll give you the second to do that. Another Ohio State guy, Steel Chambers, round 5, pick 173. First of all I got to say is, what an absolute name. First team all name for sure. Steel Chambers, yeah, that guy sounds scary on my linebacking core. I know that the linebacker position is a little bit of an interesting take because Jack Cochran is liked. Their starting 3 is good. Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquil, and of course Leo Chenal. They like Jack Cochran as the backup there. However, I don't know if I'm going to sit here and say that they are fully depth-wise good with their linebacker core. So I think Steel Chambers fits. He wasn't anything crazy at Ohio State. 1 pass breakup, 1 interception, 1.5 tackles for loss, 83 tackles. I think he just played the game, honestly, in the right way. I know that sounds, cliche and all that, but he's been able to do a lot of different things, and I think he can honestly fit in well. And he's an athlete, and dude's been playing a couple different positions there, so he can do a lot of different things. And again, I go back to my original statement. The linebacker room is good. I think the starters are good. Jack Cochran is liked, but I would just want a little bit more depth, a little bit more, and Steel Chambers does that for me. That's just my thought. All right, let's go to the round 7 pick, number 221. James Williams, the safety out of Miami. I mean, quite frank, Williams is a depth piece, and safety is something that the Chiefs have drafted well, and if they're going to draft somebody late rounds, I trust them getting a cornerback or a safety. I know that I didn't get a cornerback this time, but I just truly think they trust in Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams. I don't think it's worth it. I think there's some other unsung heroes that they're waiting on, and they had some future signings that I think they liked. It's something to kind of hold your morals on, try and see what happens, but I think getting something here with the safety and the depth-wise, it works. So let me know how you feel about this mock draft. I know I've kind of got a little AWOL on this one. Scale it 1 through 10, 1 being I hate this, 10 being I love this. Let me know down in the comments section down below, and so you can let me know what's going on with that. We do appreciate hanging out with us here on the Chief Sport. That's what we got for you today. We'll see you next time. Peace out. How are we feeling, Chiefs King? Oh, jeez. Lots of...
Yeah, we had to take care of that one. Kind of crazy mock.
I wanted to do a crazy one. I feel like I hadn't done one. Like, I've done some, just basic ones. Little trade-ups.
Yeah.
I think this one was, all right, let's double trade back.
But it
again,
is something to consider in terms of the future. I think you did make a good point of Brett Veach does have to think about starting to stockpile those picks with all the big contracts that are on the books. It's going to handicap the team that you're able to build around them just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. It's gonna take a little bit for that to kind of refill, because you're going to have a lot of these contracts start to hit, and you need people that are cheap on the roster to kind of help fill in those holes. So it's something to see. 9s from Tony Fuentes. Richard Schmidt says 9.5. JPap says 9.67. Or excuse me, JPap 9.67 says 7.5. Too many numbers there for me, JPap. So
I give it a go like 8.5. I think the
generous.
flexibility with Puni is nice, like having him as depth at guard, but also a potential option at tackle.
My thing is he's round 3, so you can trust him to, if you want to try him out in Wanya's spot, cool. If you don't, he can play guard and he can play tackle.
Yeah. I wonder if Michael Hall will go earlier than 103.
I thought that. He was still there, and I was like, man, I'm going to take
might
it.
As well.
But.
Yeah, might as well. You've got those 2 picks right there from 95 to 103, where you can actually find some solid players there. As an OU fan, I have to say I hate Jordan Whittington, so there we go. And Steel Chambers, yeah, great name.
Yeah, great name. Great name. Bigfoot Hunter says wife, yes. Nice. Not bad, Levitt says Tony 9. I'm glad. Oh, that was a long show, wasn't it? Pretty nice.
Like 16 and a half minutes?
Wow.
You were cooking.
Putting in the work here. All right. Well, if you got some questions, make sure you keep getting in that question line, hashtag Chiefs. I know that Tony's got a question there. I guarantee you that. But if you want to get something on, talk about my mock draft, talk about whatever, let me know. I got a lot of stuff I can answer, and I like to feel my knowledge is pretty well versed with the Chiefs, so I can answer whatever you need me to do. Get in there, hashtag Chiefs, and we will talk about pretty much anything.
Right now, the only questions we have are from Tony and Ed Griffin. Oh. So chances are you throw a question in, you got a pretty good chance getting on the show. Plus, we have our Super Chat special for the day as well, which no one's gotten in on.
No, you could win this for $1 right now and suggest a segment on our next live show.
Yeah. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. $1, you get in.
I might do it from my phone right now.
Sam's going to suggest a segment.
Hey, if I get it sent in and no one else does, I think that means I get to do it, right?
Sam's going to give me the most outlandish segment ever.
Yeah.
I'd like you to do round 7 options.
Yeah, and then you're going to have to because no one else stepped up to the plate.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes sometimes. I don't make the rules. I don't know what you want me to say. If you have a good defense, I'm all for it. But as of now, I think it's settled. If I send in a $2 super chat at the end of the show, I'm just gonna pick something.
Yeah. JPAP, like the question, but use hashtag Chiefs, and we can talk about it. So, actually, no. The only way our system reads it is by using hashtag Chiefs in front of our question. So, that's the way we go. But yeah. All right. Well, heck. Speaking of the super chat special. That is our next show, so we were ready to kind of get into that with the top 10 O-linemen I could see the Chiefs drafting. All right, well, let's do it here again. Using hashtag Chiefs, you can get on there. Obviously, keep doing it. Mailbag will come up here in just a little bit, but for now, it's time to talk about the top 10 offensive linemen I could see the Chiefs drafting. Welcome in, Chiefs Kingdom, and we have a special show for you today. You see, on our live show a couple weeks ago, we got sent in a super chat, and our deal was, if you were the MVP of that show, you got to recommend a topic for the Chiefs Report to talk about. So, if you want to do that, well then join our live show, 3 p.m. Central Time. And if you're the MVP, guess what? You could pick a segment for the Chiefs Report to do coming up on our next live show. Jordan Ramsey was our winner last week. He was the one to send in $2 and a couple of $2, so he was the winner. His question was, what are the top 5 linemen the Chiefs might draft? Like the option, like the segment, but hey, let's go even deeper. Let's go top 10 offensive linemen that I could see the Chiefs going with here as we get closer to the NFL draft. All right, let's look at the Chiefs' options. The Chiefs have been rumored to be looking at an offensive lineman at pick number 32. It's O-lineman or wide receiver, and I think it's becoming clearer and clearer. Those are the only 2 options. I know that they said that everything was on the table. I don't believe that. I think they are going to look at 2 places. Their depth chart is solid. Tooney, Humphrey, Smith, and Taylor are all great. Wanya Morris just doesn't have a lot of experience is my bigger thing. I don't think it's not that they don't trust him. It's just he hasn't had that ability to build up the trust. He did play a little bit last year. He played in 8 games. I know he started in 3. He did allow 2 sacks, 7 hits, and 15 pressures. So not the greatest stats for 8 games, especially when you consider he only started really in 3 and played a majority of in probably 4. So not the best, but at the same time, first year out of Oklahoma, it takes some time to kind of get used to the NFL. It takes some time. So I think he can be one that could grow and be better this year. So maybe that's something you look at. But maybe the Chiefs decide, let's just try and help it out from day 1 and get a offensive lineman in round 1. Do you think that this is a smart decision? Let me know in the comment section down below. Type Y for yes if you think this is something that would be smart. Type in for no if you think, Jace, I don't want them to draft somebody. That would be stupid. All right, let's look at the outside options here first. The first one being Tyler Guyton, the offensive tackle from Oklahoma. Hey, Wanya, you may know him. Now, the reason this is an outside option, you're probably going to have to trade up for him. That being said, if you do, you may not have to trade up that far. And I think he fits in the way that you go up maybe 7 picks, and he's there. Now, obviously, PFF stats are decent. No sacks allowed, but did allow 9 hurries, 5 penalties, 3 hits. PFF grade wasn't great, 63.7, so I think it's something to take into consideration because PFF, in my mind, is something that people have to look at in a lot of facets, especially with the draft, because you can play against people in college and get away with having bad technique and bad just pass blocking in general, not in the NFL. Now, Guyton played mostly at right tackle at OU. That's where kind of the problem steps in with Guyton and the way that I see him not being an option for the Chiefs to trade up for, because you have to play him probably at right tackle. That just doesn't work. You don't want to do that. Plus, on top of it, like I said, you would need to trade up for. I think that's very, very obvious. You're going to have to do that. The trade up is something you have to do. Why? He's not going to be there at pick number 32. He's just not. And I know that people may fall. I don't see Tyler Guyton being one of them. If he falls, he'll fall to Philadelphia, and they'll pick him. That's my thought, if he does go even that far. Let's go to the second guy, to Amarius Mims, the offensive tackle from Georgia. Amarius is a better type for me. I think that he is a little bit bigger, and I think he is more of a fit in some ways. I mean, he obviously is a little similar to Guyton, but we'll get to that in a moment. 75.6 on the PFF grade, which is really solid. One hurry. This guy played really, really well at Georgia, who was facing some top-tier SEC defensive lines. The thing, though, with Amarius is, again, he played only right tackle at Georgia. You're not going to transition him to left tackle from right. I know that that is a thought, but if you're going to draft someone in the first round, you're going to draft someone who is a left tackle, because that's what you need. So, for that reason, I think those are outside options, because not only would you have to trade up, they also are right tackles. Something to take into consideration. Jordan Morgan is the first realistic option that I have here, the number 3. Arizona, offensive tackle. I know that there's been talk about him moving to guard, and obviously that's something to take into consideration, but I think in some ways that might be not a bad way that people can see him doing that, because you draft him, you pair him with Wanya Morris, say a guard gets injured, say Trey Smith gets injured, say Joe Thuney's pec strain happens again. You can slide Morgan in there, and he can play that. So it's, again, having somebody who is really interchangeable throughout the offensive line. 83.5 on the PFF rank is great. 2 sacks allowed is not bad. 1 hit, 11 hurries. All around solid numbers here for Jordan Morgan. He is the most realistic option to me in terms of the pick and where the Chiefs have it right now. Number 32, almost 90% of the mock draft I look at, he's there, and he's the top choice for Chiefs needs. Obviously, that's not always how the team goes, but that's the way that I can kind of see it. Now, however, there are some other guys that I think would also be more realistic as well. Kingsley Suamataia is one that I really, really like, and we know that the Chiefs may have an interest in him because, well, he visited the Chiefs on an official top 30 visit. He's also going to go to the Cowboys and visit with them, but again, somebody who has contact with the Chiefs is something to definitely take into account because, well, obviously, that shows mutual interest on both sides. And obviously, if you're Kingsley, you want to get into the NFL, so of course there's interest. 11 games played, 67.5 PFF grade, 2 sacks allowed. Pretty solid last year. Pretty solid. And especially at BYU, first year in the Big 12, performed at a high caliber level right away and wasn't really too shabby at it, to say the least. It's also not too shabby being back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and I'm feeling really good about it. I know that we have some people on the channel who have gotten their hat from the link chatsports.com/Super Bowl hat. 45% off for the Super Bowl champions. It's one of my favorite hats that I own. It's super awesome, and I'm really, really excited to share this because get it right now. 45% off chatsports.com/Super Bowl hat. It's less than $30, and boom, you're going to be able to wear the nice championship gear wherever you go. And it's going to be a fun one because, hey, hopefully a year from now, we're talking about the three-peat hat that we're going to be wearing with the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, now the Yale offensive tackle, Kiran Amegadjie, the guy who is interesting to me because Amegadjie is somebody that has had snaps at both left tackle and left guard. So he's played both sides or both positions on the left side of the line. He's interesting to me because there wasn't really an obvious split. This past year, he played a little bit more at guard. The year prior, he was all left tackle. So it's kind of, to me, looking like, okay, he has options. He's, again, interchangeable. And again, I think that's something that the Chiefs are going to look at just because of the situation they are in with Wanya Morris. And they think they do have faith in him, but they want to have somebody just, challenge him a little bit. 89.5 on the PFF rank. I mean, this guy's stats were incredible. Obviously, Yale is not going to produce, the competition of BYU or anything like that in terms of Power 5 conferences. Same time, I still feel like, it's a good, Ivy League. 5 hurries, but no sacks, no hits, no penalties. He would be a reach, though, at 32 is the thing that I keep seeing. So this has been an option if you want him, if that's the guy you are interested in. Trade back. 45% get a couple picks, and boom, Amegadjie is yours, and you don't have to worry about having picks later on because you have some extra ones. I think it would work out, but hey, we'll have to wait and see. So I think it would be a reach, but it would honestly be a good pick if you trade back. Pick an offensive tackle that you would want to see the Chiefs draft. Jordan Morgan, type N. Kingsley Suamataia, type S. Kiran Amegadjie, type A. Who is somebody you want to see here drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs? All right, back five. We'll go a little bit more speedy on these guys because there are other options that I feel as though are there, but I think more in the terms of second round, third round guys. Brandon Coleman, the TCU offensive tackle, is the first one. He's a bigger guy. Stats aren't amazing, but he didn't allow a sack. His PFF rank, though, is the one that scares me at 57.7. 17 hurries isn't great as well. I know that obviously having Patrick Mahomes, if you let someone go, whatever, it'll be fine. He did play most of his snaps at left tackle, and I think that's one very positive thing that you're going to start looking at, especially in the later part of the draft. If you don't get an offensive tackle in the first round or early second, if you trade for whatever reason, I think you have to start looking at guys who played left tackle because early guys who are offensive line can probably transition a little easier than the guys in the later parts of the round. That's just kind of the way I see it. Blake Fisher is one we've talked about at the Chiefs drafting a couple times, Notre Dame offensive tackle, and he is somebody that I know that he's not going to get in there and start day one. Not saying that, but he's a good fit here in round two. And I think that's where you could potentially, again, pair him with Wanya Morris, have some competition, make them better, play against each other, and hopefully one of them comes out shining and is the clear left tackle. Will that happen? I don't know. Who's to say? But all I can say is, hey, it'd be a really good pick. Roger Rosengarten, the Washington offensive tackle. He's also one that I could very much see the Chiefs going after. His stats, similar to Coleman, good, not great. 71.4 in the PFF rank is better. 12 hurries, 3 hits and 4 penalties is pretty solid overall. 0 sacks allowed is also something that I really, really like to see. It doesn't matter where it is. If you're playing at Big 10, Big 12, I don't care. You're allowing 0 sacks. You're doing something right. And so Roger, to me, again, third round option. I think it's somebody that would easily be there at your third round pick. You could trade up for a couple of the other guys, but somebody you don't have to worry about, somebody that really, really fits into the squad. Patrick Paul, the Houston offensive tackle, is one that I really also could see. I know that we've talked about him a couple times. He is somebody, again, third round guy. And then Dominick Puni, the offensive guard from Kansas. I know it says guard, not tackle. However, he has the ability to go both sides. And I'm sure you saw on a previous show, he can be somebody you can transition to play both positions potentially. Both those guys are third round options, though, both Paul and Puni. So I know that it's something that it's a consideration factor. Is that really worth, a third round pick? Or are you going to pick someone earlier? In my mind, your first 2 picks should be wide receiver, offensive tackle. Then from there, defensive line, cornerback, just little depth pieces maybe. But the first 2 picks should be offensive tackle and wide receiver. And so it's just about what is the bigger priority and how exactly they see best fit to go about those 2 positions. So a lot of options for Rhett Reach, and I'm sure a lot of sleepless nights coming for him because he's got a lot of big decisions to make. But hey, that's the role of being a GM in the NFL. So, man, I'm excited, and I hope you are too. Hit the subscribe button. We're going to be putting out a lot of content over the next couple weeks for the draft coverage. So, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. We do appreciate hanging out with us, but for now, peace out. Nice.
2 down, 1 to go.
Got any more questions? Puni. Ugh.
Do we want the Chiefs to go O-line in round 1?
I don't know. Got Tony Fuentes saying yes.
If trying to put you on the spot here. If this is draft night,
yes.
You are at number 32.
I'm taking off the tackle, offensive line. I just think the wide receiver draft class, although both of the tackles and wide receivers are deep, wide receivers more deep.
Good point, obviously, by get 3 Okie or 3 Oak. Depends on the board. Obviously, always depends on the board. I think if you're thinking about what position to prioritize, I think it is offensive tackle over wide receiver.
Yeah.
But if Adonai Mitchell slips and falls to
Oh,
32,
take the 32.
then you take him and you figure out the rest later.
If you trade up for a wide receiver. If you don't trade up, you take an offensive tackle. That's my mindset.
I'm excited to see. There's talk at this point that this could be a record number for amount of offensive players drafted in round 1.
Probably.
Wild
I
if
wouldn't be
true.
surprised.
I think, who was it? I want to say Matt Miller quote tweeted something along those lines and said, like, in my latest mock draft that I'm putting out tomorrow or something like that, he said I had 21 offensive players and 11 defensive, which would be a record.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of talent on that side of the ball this year.
It's a lot. Offensive tackle and wide receiver lead the way, so that's something that, it's the draft. Anything can happen. Do we have enough questions? I know there was kind of a lull in those.
It's dicey. I'm not going to lie. How many do we have here?
Use hashtag Chiefs if you aren't.
Tony's got us loaded, but outside of that, we haven't gotten any new questions with hashtag Chiefs in there.
How about this? I'm going to run to the restroom, give them a little bit of time to get some questions in.
Okay, hold on. Let me throw myself on.
There you go. Iceberg saying OT then guard. Interesting.
All right, run. Hashtag Chiefs. Get in the line. Send in a super chat. We're still doing our MVP deal. I see. Get 3. You put hashtag Chiefs for whatever reason. It's not there. Try just hashtag Chiefs. I don't know why Chiefs report by Chat Sports wouldn't work. Oh, there it is. All right, I got it now. All right, get 3. You're going to be on the mailbag as well. Hashtag Chiefs. We're waiting on Jace to get back from the bathroom. What's up, Tony? Good to see you. Tell him to run to the bathroom. Hopefully it's not longer than it needs to be. In the meantime, I want you to let me know. And this was kind of what we were talking about earlier when it came to potentially drafting a tight end long term. I think you've got, as I adjust the camera, I think you've got 2 options here when it comes to a potential replacement for you to draft, right? If Travis Kelce is planning on retiring in a couple years and this is that, then you're looking maybe for a similar type, or are you looking for a more complementary tight end? But either way, do the Chiefs need to draft a tight end? Go in, type D or P. I'm giving shout-outs to every single person who types in the chat right now, D or P. Tony Fuentes, the very first one, as always, because Tony's a real one, typing D for draft. Let's see what everybody's got. We got 60 people watching here. Paul Amos says D. Mini Ninja says D. Patmo, D. Iceberg, D/T. D. They need 2, really. D if trading up for Brock Bowers. That'd be, if there's one person who could pull off a trade like that from 32 into Brock Bowers range, it'd be Brett Veach. JPAB said D. Yep. Paul Amos, D. Matthew Platt says N. N is in maybe like pass. Richard Schmidt said D. Joey Ketchum, D. Kelce ain't getting younger from Tony Fuentes. No, like I said earlier, I think I realized at one point last year, I was like, damn, he's almost 35 years old now, and he's been in the league for a decade now. It's a lot of wear and tear on the body, especially with the amount of the amount of volume that he's seen over the years too. Alfonso said P next year. I'm trying to think of who some of the top tight ends could be for next year, but none of the names are coming to mind right now. Oh, Jace is back. Run. Hurry. We still need more questions, by the way. Hashtag Chiefs. I mean, if we sit around and we don't get enough questions, I don't know what we do. We got 60 people watching, but we don't have 60 questions. It's not that hard. Jace is about to come back in as my headphone cable gets tangled up. And
there we go. No questions, man. I mean, I hate to say it, but if there's no questions, we just can't do a mailbag. It's up to y'all. I want to answer your questions, but we need some questions using hashtag Chiefs. Again, I mean, heck, this is one of those shows. I mean, most shows we have a lot of questions. So this one, using hashtag Chiefs, you're almost guaranteed to get in there. Pretty simple.
You're not almost guaranteed. You are. You will get on.
There you go. Sam guaranteed. So if you got a question, use hashtag Chiefs. Oh, man.
Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock.
Yeah? Got it there.
Funny enough, I'm actually right now a little behind-the-scenes radio for you. I'm typing in Ed Griffin's question. He was actually one of the very first questions, and I had it in our system, and then for whatever reason, our system lost it.
Come on, system.
But now Ed's in. Ed, you in.
Yeah, Ed's in. Ed, ya in, buddy.
Who else we got? Get 3. You are going to be in. Probably more than once at this rate.
Yeah. Unfortunate, man. Come on, hashtag Chiefs. Any question at all? Using
Mini
hashtag
Ninja,
Chiefs.
use hashtag Chiefs.
Yeah, I see some questions, but I need hashtag
Alphonse,
Chiefs.
use hashtag Chiefs.
Again, I need hashtag Chiefs in front of it.
We have like a software here, so it like goes through the system, and that way I can see them, and the filter is that hashtag Chiefs. So you can do it all caps, you can do it lowercase, you can do it like title case, you can do either way you want. Chiefs is spelled Chiefs. Just making sure.
Yeah, that's...
All right, I think the questions are going to start to roll in, though. Alphonse and Mini Ninja, put your question with hashtag Chiefs, all one message. JPap is just trolling us now. And we'll get you on the show.
Yeah.
Or you won't. I hope we can get you on.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
All right. You ready?
David Stocking, that's a great question. You have to put the hashtag and hashtag Chiefs all in one word, just like it is on screen right now. I'm going to have it on screen on the next one, too. You put that word, then you, with the hashtag and that word all together, then you put your question, and then we'll get you on the show. Mini Ninja, you in.
There we go. All right, you ready to do this? Again, you keep going questions. Sam will help us out throughout the way. But without further ado, let's get talking. Chiefs Kingdom, it's my favorite time of the week. I get to talk the latest Chiefs news and rumors with you. Got our live Q&A mailbag, at least live for some. Obviously, you're seeing this probably a little bit later. But hey, if you want to be on this show, you want to be asking questions about the Kansas City Chiefs, guess what? We're live every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Time. Come join us. Come hang out. We're talking Chiefs. We're talking with everybody. And I want you to be a part of it. And heck, you could be a part of one of the next questions, next mailbags we do in the coming future. Ed Griffin saying hashtag Chiefs. Are we off Dobbins? No. So I know that this has been a question throughout the entirety of Chiefs Kingdom since that meeting happened and the same day Clyde Edwards-Helaire signed. From Nate Taylor, he did say that the meeting between J.K. Dobbins and the Kansas City Chiefs was productive. Now, he also did mention it's something that could happen down the line. It's not something that he expects to be a near future type thing or anything that we could see in the coming days or weeks. Also, though, I think there's probably a position where the Chiefs are waiting for someone in the draft. There's someone that they want. Braylon Allen, Bucky Irving, Dylan Johnson have been 3 guys they've talked to. Maybe that is somebody that they go after, and if they don't get the person they want in the draft, then they come back and say, okay, now we are going to figure it out, and we're going to go out here and go for J.K. Dobbins. So definitely not off them. Let Mahomes cook. Hashtag Chiefs. Who do you want the Chiefs to draft in round 1? Lots of options here. I think I've set on a specific game plan. Should the Kansas City Chiefs decide to trade up, you get a wide receiver. You get A.D. Mitchell. You get Brian Thomas Jr. You try and get something like that if they fall to the right spot. If you don't trade up, I think you go offensive tackle. I know. Wanya Morris, the 3rd-round pick, played well when was needed, and wide receivers are thin because the receiver situation is something else. But you still have to worry about your offensive line, the health of it, the future of it. Lots of things have to come into your mindset in this draft. And I feel as though the offensive tackle is just not as deep as the wide receiver class is. So you get an offensive tackle at pick number 32, and then at 64, you get a wide receiver. Or maybe you trade up in the 2nd round. You could probably still get a Xavier Legette, potentially a Troy Franklin, who I do think would both work really well with the Chiefs system. So that's something to maybe take into account. Tony Fuentes saying, #Chiefs, when can the Chiefs bring in T. Higgins? Unfortunately, it sounds like nobody's going to bring in T. Higgins. I would love for the Chiefs to trade for him. I think he would be an absolute steal to have in KC. And it'd be funny because the Bengals would then have to watch him just absolutely go off whenever the Chiefs play them, whenever that would be. However, T. Higgins recently did come out at one of his events saying that he expects to play in Cincinnati this year. Now, how long will he be there? We don't exactly know. And I know that that's something that could change. I mean, maybe within a couple weeks or so, maybe it's something else that we decide to see. But for now, I feel as though he will play in Cincinnati. He says the same thing. So it sounds like nobody's going to bring him in. It's not just the Chiefs. Name a player you want the Chiefs to draft. Obviously, we are getting closer and closer. Less than a week away now from the NFL draft. So get down in the comment section. Name somebody you want to see on the squad for 2024. And let me know what you're thinking down in the comment section. Get 3 Oak saying, #Chiefs 4 Chat Sports. I'm really starting to lean towards trading down if the board's friendly. Agreed. I really, really want A.D. Mitchell. I want him on the squad, and I think he could be a really valuable asset. However, I do not think he will be there at 32. If you trade up, in my mind, you have 3 actual position needs. I say actual as in you could draft somebody and they could be a starter. Wide receiver for sure, left tackle, and maybe cornerback. Because I know that Joshua Williams is good and they like Jalen Watson, but maybe they go cornerback in the round 3 to try and see what they can figure out. They've been really good at drafting cornerbacks. You trade up here with a wide receiver, you don't really lose out on too much. I mean, yeah, say you trade your 2nd round pick this year. Okay, you get a wide receiver, you get an offensive tackle in the 3rd round. Say you trade your 3rd round pick. I think that's the better option. Trade your 3rd and 1st to move up 5 slots. You get A.D. Mitchell in the 2nd round, you get an offensive tackle. Then you figure it out from there. You got your 2 needs that you really needed. You figure it out after that. I think that's the thing that would be very, very useful for the Chiefs. So just have to wait and see, though, what exactly will happen. Mini Ninja saying, #Chiefs, what are your thoughts on Rasheed? It's an unfortunate situation. I know that obviously he's a kid. He's young. He just got out of college. Was right in the NFL, and that's a lot of stuff to come to a kid right out of college. However, you do have to take the consequences for your actions. And what he did was just plain stupid, unfortunately. You can't be doing that type of speed, and it caused a wreck, and there's injuries, and there's lawsuits, and I truly don't know what's going to happen next. I know Andy Reid did mention he is going to participate in the initial process of training camp, pro camp, whatever you want to call it, voluntary workouts, kind of that stuff. He'll be a part of the Zoom process, but besides that, we don't know for sure. Obviously, if jail time happens, that kind of takes away from what he would be doing this season. So that's what we got to see. Patmo131 saying, do you agree that tight end is more useful to Chiefs than wide receiver? Do you mean drafting or do you mean the tight end they have now? Because Travis Kelce is by far more important than any wide receiver they have on the team. I agree with that 10,000 times. Draft-wise, no, obviously. But I think what you're talking about is the way they Chiefs use their tight end, especially being Travis Kelce. I do think it's more important. I do think that you think about this team and you don't think Rashee Rice. You think Travis Kelce. I mean, even Marquise Brown. You don't think Marquise Brown. You think Travis Kelce. That's just the way that it's set in. And at this point, it's the way that Andy Reid is going to continue coaching it as long as he has Travis Kelce. And hopefully it's for a couple more years because, man, I'm excited to see what he will do. I'm also excited to get my prize picks in here as, man, oh, man, it's been a pretty good week for you on Prize Picks, and you can be joining me, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Using code CLNS, you're going to get a $100 deposit match. It's the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and it's the easiest way to play DFS. They've got multiple different stat types, multiple different sports. It's so much fun. It's so easy. And hey, guess what? The NBA playoffs, or at least play-ins, are here. Obviously got some games going on tonight, and so we put some picks in. DeMar DeRozan, 41.5 points and rebounds and assists. I'm going to go more. Trae Young plays well when the lights shine bright, 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I'm going to go more for the Oklahoma Sooner. I think he's going to do well in the game that, hey, I put both these guys in the same game, so I get to watch them do both of this, and I'm going to be rooting for offense the entire time. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. And hey, it makes sports viewing, honestly, really, really exciting. So if you're not interested in the playing games, put some prize picks down. Maybe you'll get a little more interested. Once again, check out prizepicks.com/CLNS and using code CLNS, you're going to get that first deposit match of up to $100. Now, of course, go check it out. We'll have the link in the comments and the description of this video. You're not going to regret it. David Stocking saying, could the Chiefs trade for another veteran wide receiver in the draft? Yes. I know there's a couple of guys who have been on the market. One today that intrigued me was Courtland Sutton. Didn't appear at his voluntary workouts, and that doesn't mean anything. It's not too big a deal. Justin Jefferson didn't appear at his, and we're not questioning if they're going to trade him. I think he just doesn't need it, to be quite frank. But Courtland would be a good one. However, because it's a AFC West trade there, I don't think it would happen. Doesn't mean it won't, but I think that would be kind of awesome to get a little bit more of a veteran presence, just because Hollywood Brown is not a veteran presence. Rashee Rice, not a veteran presence. Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. None of these guys have played more than 3 or 4 years. So Justin Watson's like the most veteran guy we have, and I wouldn't consider him like the star caliber to be a veteran guy. So Courtland Sutton will be an interesting one, but I don't think that will happen. Paul Amos saying, what do you think of Irv Smith Jr.? I like him. He's a good pickup. First non-re-signing free agent. At the same time, I was a little bit confused because I know they like to keep four tight ends. They have 3. Will they draft one now? Were they not going to draft one now? I do think he has ability to be a blocking tight end and a catching and receiving tight end. So that's one positive note about him, and I think he can be able to do both. And it's going to be a fun time to watch that develop and see what his role is. But I'm still kind of on the border of what to expect from him in 2024. Alfonso Zepeda saying, Keon Coleman at 32? I don't mind it. However, I will say this. Keon was projected to be a first-round pick about 2 months ago. That was his projection. Now we sit here about a week away. Nowhere close. I've had some mock drafts where he's been picked at 64th by the Chiefs. That's why I say this. If you don't trade up in the first round, you get an offensive tackle because the chances are Keon Coleman, Xavier Legette will be there around your pick, and you can trade up a little bit. So I think Keon is a good pick if it's in round 2. Not in round 1, though. I think there's other people that are better than him now that we see, and hopefully they have the potential to go to Kansas City. Will the Chiefs take a wide receiver in round 1, though? I know that I've talked about the offensive tackle being an option. What would happen? Type Y for yes if you want the Chiefs to take a wide receiver. Type in for no if you don't want the Chiefs to take a wide receiver in round 1. Obviously, it's a very much a question that is going to be swirling over the next week or so. So get your comments down below. Get 3 Oak again. Let's go. Let's go. Has Kool-Aid still been slipping on people's boards? Yes. I actually did do a mock draft getting Kool-Aid McKinstry after the L'Jarius Sneed trade talks. He would be great. He would really fit in. He would immediately be a CB2. But again, it's back to my point. You're replacing Joshua Williams, who the Chiefs like to have on their roster. Whereas if you get a wide receiver, you're replacing Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney. Not as much of a liking on the Chiefs side. You get an offensive tackle, you're replacing Wanya Morris, who only started in 2 games last year. I think that's where you got to think about, okay, what's more important? If Kool-Aid is there at 32, you take him. I'm not trading up for Kool-Aid, though, is I think the bigger thing that I'm doing. Tony Fuente saying, I think the Chiefs should get tight end in the draft. Travis Kelce ain't getting any younger. I think it's time. Yeah, I know, 34 years old, and Taylor Swift may take a couple years off his life as well. So that's something to keep in the thought process. But at the same time, he did say after winning the Super Bowl, I could do this 7 more times. Obviously, that's somebody who just won the Super Bowl. Let's say, God forbid, the Chiefs lose this year and don't win the Super Bowl. Is there a different sentiment? Is he saying, maybe we'll think about it? Is there, you never know. And as the Chiefs, you have to be prepared. And I think in some ways you have to have an honest conversation with Travis and say, hey, we need to know what your plan is. Is it this year? Is it next year? Do you think you're going to retire in the next couple of years? Or is that something that's not on your mind? I'm not trying to force you to retire. I just want to know from a personnel perspective what we could do on that. Alfonso Zepeda saying, what about bringing back Kareem Hunt? In short, No. As much as I would like to kind of reinvigorate that, it's just not there anymore. As much as I would like it to be, it's not. And we got to move on. And Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are great. I think you can get J.K. Dobbins or draft a running back, but definitely an interesting thing, and I think that would be hilarious for the Chiefs to bring him back. It'd also be, hey, an interesting story for sure. So keep that in the back of my mind if the Chiefs don't get a running back in the draft for sure. If you want Chiefs draft coverage content all in one place, we got you covered. Hit that subscribe button. We're getting closer and closer, literally about a week away now. So hit the subscribe button. You're not going to regret it. And hey, if you don't like us in 2 weeks, unsubscribe. Not going to hurt my feelings. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. And for now, Chiefs Kingdom. Peace out. There we go. 3 up, 3 down.
See, that wasn't so hard, guys, was it? We did it.
We did it. Luis Simo.
One more live show left.
Yeah.
And then
The draft.
we get to boo Roger Goodell.
I love how that's the best part of the draft for every fan. It's just booing Goodell.
Oh, it's my favorite part. It's a very stressful night for me for the most part, but for 5 seconds, I get to hop on the mic and just boo. Makes my night.
Hey, I'll say this. I got to go to it last year. Booing him was fun. Not gonna lie.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So,
If you don't like Roger Goodell, type boo. I just want to see how many people share the same sentiment that we do.
I'm gonna type boo. What's up, Olu? Watching from South Jersey. Heath, Tony, Paul saying, boo! Who came up with boo? Like,
Like as the sound for scaring someone?
was the sound for, like,
Oh, for
booing,
booing?
like the verb?
I don't know.
Ghostmaster, I think you're in the wrong stream, bud. Losers belong in the Raiders chat. Sorry you don't have any rings in the past couple of years. We've got 2. Have fun, buddy.
Just win a playoff game. Don't even go for a ring. Just
Have a competent quarterback.
win one playoff game. Just one.
Uno más.
Just one. It's not that hard, actually.
It's not.
They've done it over a team in Kansas City. Yeah, that was a regular season game. Just win one playoff game. Just one. And then
Crazy.
and then we'll carry on. There we go. Paul Amos gets it.
There you go.
He knows the message.
Yeah, for one game. When he also didn't, it wasn't that bad. Also, Aiden O'Connell didn't complete a pass for 3 quarters. The Chiefs lost that game. You didn't win it. Anyway, whatever. It's about time for us to go.
That's a
anyway.
good call by Get 3. Last I remember, Kansas City's last win of the year just came on the Raiders building.
Did. With the Chiefs logo in the end zone.
Which I'll admit, I was inside that stadium. Very nice stadium.
Oh, 100% new.
Yeah. It's a shame the poverty franchise that plays in it, but nice stadium.
Yeah.
Got to get the bells and whistles to hide the fact that the engine's busted as shit.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, well.
There you go. See, that's the take now. That's a much better take than anything he's said so far, is when he talks about a completely different team. A completely different team that's not your own.
Also, is his profile photo? No, it's a Raiders. It's the Max Crosby photo. I thought it was the Lions for a second. I was like, why you have
It is, I think, the Raiders and Mahomes one, which is good.
Yeah, it's
that's
the Max
one thing I
Crosby.
do love is the back and forth that those two guys have.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good picture. I'll give Ghostmaster credit there. That's a good picture.
Yeah, get 3 Oak. We literally sucked this year and still won. Like, 11-5 was sucking, and then they still won it. So, all right, well, I think I'm ready to head out of here. You ready? Got videos to post and things to do. We appreciate hanging out with us again. Subscribe. Got more draft content coming up. But for now, we really appreciate hanging out with us all today. I know Sam's ready for the draft day. I'm ready for draft day. So we're excited to see you there. And hopefully we will get some more and more content. We'll see you there.
I'm ready for the draft for like 2 separate reasons. A, I'm ready for the draft. I'm excited for the draft in the sense that it's like a ton of fun and it's 100 miles an hour and you get to see all these guys find new homes and help fulfill their dreams and all that stuff. And it's great. I'm also excited for the draft to be over and get a few more extra hours of sleep a night.
You're telling me. You're telling me. Not a lot of sleep over here at Chat Sports, but hey, we sleep in May. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. We will see you next time. For Sam, I'm Jace. Peace out, Chiefs Kingdom.